Mallory Hartley, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, sitting alongside the Director of Recruiting, Greg Powers.
Howdy.
Howdy. And we are finishing our series today.
Finally,
over positional rankings in the class of 2026 in the state of Texas. And as you can see behind us, we got one left. We're ranking the top 5 wide receivers in the class of 2026 in the state of Texas. And before we reveal this list, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
How tough was it to put together this list from top to bottom? Because I know you have been agonizing over it for the past couple of weeks now, obviously because it's our last one.
It's an extremely tough list to put together every year because the wide receiver talent within the state is so good. It's so deep. So, yeah, there's been some back and forth on this list. There are plenty of ties is what I would say, but at the end of the day, when you're doing rankings, you have to pick a number 1 and you have to pick a number 10 so that you can make number 11. So This is just the nature of the rankings business, and it's time to unveil them.
It's time to unveil them. So without further ado, checking in at number 1, we have Ethan Feaster. Ethan Booby Feaster at 6'2", 180 pounds. Actually reclassified in the class of 2026, was in the class of 2027 up until February of this year, and then he announced that he is going to be graduating this coming year, playing his senior season. He racked up 855 yards and 14 touchdowns last year at DeSoto, earning him 11 6A first-team all-district honors in his sophomore campaign.
Yeah, I don't know.
Technically, it's weird.
I cheated. I said 2024 campaign.
2024 campaign, we'll put it that way. And he has official visits locked and loaded with Miami, USC, Texas A&M, and LSU.
Yeah, no doubt.
What a list.
An elite wide receiver, brings a little bit of everything to the table. As a matter of fact, I think if he goes for over 1,500 yards this year, he has a chance to be DeSoto's all-time leading receiver, and that's saying something. He was the first freshman to ever start for Claude Mathis at that position at DeSoto, and he's improved year over year. And part of the rankings process for me is definitely trying to project the success of some of these talents and how they'll do at the next level, right? How are they going to perform in college? And despite the fact that Feaster has reclassified and we are weighing his tape side by side with some guys who are a little bit older than him and have more experience than him on tape, the projection there for me remains for what Feaster brings to the table. He was the youngest 5-star that we ever selected at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and now ascending to the top of this wide receiver list, he can stay right in line to retain that 5-star ranking amongst the top-rated players in this cycle.
At number 2, let's go to Southlake Carroll and talk about Brock Boyd. At 6'1", 170 pounds, he racked up 1,875 yards and 19 touchdowns, earning him District 4 6A Offensive Player of the Year honors in his junior campaign. And the DCTF 4-star recently flipped from TCU. Now he's going to be a Buckeye at Ohio State.
And if you haven't watched it already and you're an Ohio State fan or a Southlake Carroll fan or a Texas high school football fan in general, we go really in depth on Brock Boyd's commitment to Ohio State, where we break down the X's and O's and take a really close look what he brings to the table. So check that video out if you haven't seen it already. But this was one of those rankings that I agonized over. I'm a big Brock Boyd fan. His game, I compared it to Brian Hartline in the video, but one of the fans on the message forums brought someone else to my attention that I think that I can point to now. Chris Olave, I think, is a really good comparison for what Brock Boyd brings to the table at Southlake Carroll and what he's going to do within the Ohio State offense. Ohio State fans ought to be plenty fired up to get one of the best in Texas, especially one rated so high. Brian Hartline does know what he's doing in that wide receiver room, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's go out west. And we'll talk about Chase Campbell out of Wolforth Friendship At 6 foot, 180 pounds, he racked up 1,511 receiving yards and 18 touchdowns, earning him 2 6A first team all-district honors in his junior campaign. And the DCTF 4-star is considering offers from Texas Tech, Arkansas, and Kansas State.
Yeah, he is, to me, the best football player on this list. Maybe the best.
Really?
Maybe the best pure football player in the state. I'll just say it.
I like it.
Maybe the best pure football player. He is so fun to watch on tape. He can do a little bit of everything, but there are some of his return game clips that just has, your jaw on the floor. You have to pick it up because he's so electric. I think sky's the limit for him at the next level because he's so diverse. He can do a little bit of it all, and he's just fun to watch. He's going to be one of the top producers in the state because they had Leighton Stone, who signed with Texas Tech last season, and they kind of split the numbers because they both produced at such a high level. Well, now Stone's moved on to college, and I think that Campbell's going to pick up the slack as far as it's concerned with those numbers because there were so many of them.
He's the one that you want to give the ball to over and over and over and over again. I like it. At number 4, we'll go to Iowa Colony. And let's talk about Jaden Warren. At 6 foot 285 pounds, he racked up 613 yards and 14 touchdowns, earning him 9-5A Division II first team all-district honors. And the DCTF 4-star recently narrowed down his recruitment to 6 programs, and that's SMU, Texas A&M, TCU, Houston, Oklahoma, and Nebraska.
Warren is the highest upside player.
He's one of my favorites. Yeah.
He's the top qualifier in the 100-meter dash at the UIL State track meet that's coming up this weekend. And he, 6'2", 190, easily, quickly passes the eyeball test. Long arms, jacked, big frame. I think the difference when you look at the statistics and break down the film right now is that he just didn't get a chance to get his hands on as many balls because there's such a great run team at Iowa Colony, but he still produced at a high level, and I can't think of a better red zone weapon or a jump ball winner than Jaden Warren, especially with that speed to separate from defenders.
Well, I was going to say, too, and you got to remember that Iowa Colony is in their 3rd year as a varsity program, and they're brand new, so the type of talent and just the production on offense that they're producing right now is pretty impressive.
Already a state championship contender.
Team. Yeah, right.
And Warren is a huge reason why.
Absolutely. And to round out this list, we'll go to Aledo and talk about Caden Finley.
Wait, Aledo has players?
No, never. They always got
loaded
dudes out there. At 6'1", 190 pounds, he collected 1,432 yards and 21 touchdowns, earning him 3-5A Division II first team all-district honors. And the DCTF 4-star has official visits scheduled with Texas, Arizona State, and Notre Dame.
Yeah, he's got some big schools chasing him. He's the son of Jermichael Finley, who played at UT, so great tight end there. So Hookham has an in with Caden Finley, right? But Notre Dame's doing a tremendous job in this recruitment as well, making a strong push for his services. What Caden Finley brings to the table is unique size and flexibility at the wide receiver position. When he first burst onto the scene as a freshman, I thought wholeheartedly that he would grow into a tight end. This has trended in the other direction. As a matter of fact, on his junior tape, Finley was much more athletic and is faster and slimmer, I would almost say, than he was whenever he was a freshman. So he's really matured in the right direction to be considered, to me, as a true wide receiver and a guy who can move the chains. But don't go to sleep on his sneaky athleticism. They use him on sweeps and design runs and find the way to get him the ball underneath. So he has some sneaky athleticism that I think that other fan bases should appreciate.
So there you go, the top 5 wide receivers in the class of 2026 in the state of Texas. And if you want to check out the full top 10 list, keep it locked on texasfootball.com/recruiting.